want to welcome you to this deep dive on mobile research quality checklist. And I think the thing that we've seen throughout ReThink is this. All of the great insights that have been presented on our main stage and in all our breakout sessions are all founded on a quality. There's a foundation of quality data. Because let's face it, if the data is bad, then your decisions are going to tumble like a house of cards. And look, senior management is not averse to getting a little blood on their hands to find out what the source of that bad data was and how you're going to fix it. We've all recognized that the pace of change in the marketing and the advertising and media agencies has never been more rapid than it is today. The same is true when we talk about the research industry. If we think about this, in the 1940s, we used to have clipboard in hand, and somebody would be on the street corner, on the sidewalk in front of the store, and they'd stop you and say, "Can I ask your opinion? Would you be willing to take a survey for me?" You fast forward 40 years, and we took that same clipboard survey, and we just put it on the telephone. And generally, we would harass people during dinner time and ask them for their opinion. We then took that same clipboard survey, and in 20 years, we went from telephone to the PC. And we allowed people to sit at their desks, to sit at home, and tell us all the things that we wanted to know from them. The point is this. This little mobile device has sped up the rate of change in the research industry faster than any other technology before it. If you think about it, it's just less than 10 years that transition from a PC survey to a mobile survey, and yet we're still trying to do the same kind of clipboard interviews on a mobile device as we've been doing for the past almost 80 years. So, it's important because we need to make sure, and the ARF has always been focused on ensuring quality data. If you think back in 2008, we kicked off our Foundations of Quality #1, where we're emphasizing the importance of online research quality. We continued that in 2013 with our FOQ2 study, and combined between both of those studies, we brought together 50 industry luminaries who analyzed more than 100,000 consumer interviews to come up with 8 best practices that we published in the Journal of Advertising Research on how to make sure you're doing online research quality right. I will note that that +1 represents a new best practice study that's being published in the March issue of the JAR, so I encourage you to look for that. The point is this. We learned even in FOQ back in 2013 that mobile was both an opportunity and also a challenge. For example, we saw that people who tried to take that FOQ survey on a mobile device were falling off, they were dropping off from the survey at a 50% faster rate than those who were taking the survey on a PC. And those who did stay and complete the survey on a mobile device required 40% more time to complete it than those who were doing it on their computer. Why is this critical? Because keep this in mind. The number of mobile survey starts has increased 700%. 700%. In just the 3 years since we did our FOQ study. Mobile research is not going away. That's why we're here today. And what we're going to share with you right now represents a synthesis of over 40 industry white papers, proprietary research on research, publications, all dedicated to making sure that we're doing that transition of online surveys to mobile surveys right. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about 4 to-dos, a checklist, if you will, to recharge the battery on your mobile research. First is this. Recognize that growth generations are mobile, and they need to be in your mobile surveys. Number 2, surveys need to be 10 minutes or less. Number 3, surveys need to be designed to be thumb-friendly. And number 4 is really the opportunity. The opportunity for us to evolve from the clipboard survey to a handheld dialogue with consumers. Okay, so let me take each one of these in order. So let me start with growth generations. Keep this in mind. 49% of respondents who take a survey on a mobile device are millennials. Okay? That is a 50% increase in the numbers of millennial respondents from what we saw even in FOQ2. And I want you to compare that. Only about 12% of mobile respondents are baby boomers. So we see a huge difference here. The other thing to keep in mind is this, is that 34% of mobile respondents are multicultural. That's a 300% increase from the numbers that we saw during FOQ. So why is this important? Well, think about this. Where's your growth going to come from tomorrow? It's going to come from these people. So if we can't figure out how to use that mobile device to hear their opinions, to understand what they want from us, then we're missing out on growth of tomorrow. Okay, so that's point number one. That's the first thing I want you to do. Second thing is this. In our FOQ work, what we learned is that surveys should be no longer than 20 minutes. After that, we risk the quality deteriorating. So the data, people start to check out after 20 minutes. They lose interest. With a mobile device, we need to cut that in half. There's a very important reason for that. Think about it. Most people, when they're on that mobile device, are multitasking. They're in line at the grocery store. Or they may be watching TV. The point is this. It's more difficult for us to keep their attention and making sure that we're getting good quality feedback from them on a mobile device than it is for a PC. One of the things that at SMR conference last fall, folks from SSI had a panel where they interviewed a number of their local panelists from Dublin. And I'll never forget, one of the panelists said from the stage, he said, I have my survey taking time every night, and after dinner I go to my computer and I see what invitations I've gotten and I take my surveys. That doesn't happen with mobile respondents. They're doing many things at once. So 10 minutes, that's about as long as we can keep their attention. So you might be asking yourself, okay, wait a minute, I got a lot of stuff I want to ask people. How am I going to keep their attention? How am I going to be able to do all that in just 10 minutes? Well, we're all familiar with our infamous grid. Grids are very efficient. We know that they collect a lot of information all at one time, but they are not thumb-friendly, okay? So what we need to do is we need to redesign how that survey looks to someone on a mobile device. So let's take that grid and go from that to this. Buttons are bigger, easier for me to navigate. I can see the screen, and it's easier for me to interact with. Or another way to think about it is change the way the question is structured. Do one question on a page, and just make the response buttons very big for someone to reply to. Or change the question altogether. See, I'm not averse to getting feedback myself. So think about this. Use the visuals. Change the nature of the question. Keep the responses very simple. We don't always have to have an 11-point scale. If all you want to know is yes or no, ask yes or no. Consumers will actually stay with us if they're engaged in what we're asking them. So if we redesign our surveys on mobile devices to be thumb-friendly, that they load quickly, that they're legible, and most importantly, that they're engaging. That's something that we learned in FOQ. If someone is engaged in the topic, they're engaged in the process, they're more likely to tell you or give you better data, more data, richer data. And the same is going to hold true on a mobile device as well. But I want us to keep this point in mind, and here's the opportunity. Mobile can do a lot of things. It's not about just migrating that clipboard survey onto a new device, but it's really about using it to initiate a consumer dialogue. It's not just about collecting consumer data. So think about the opportunity to use that mobile device as a way to engage with people, to have typing, text, talk, video. It can do a lot of things. Let's take advantage of it. Think about using it for on the go, in the moment, or even passive measurement. The point is this. There's a lot more that we can do with this new technology that's come so quickly at us, and we need to make sure that we're taking advantage of all that it can do. So, I want to close with this. I want you to do 4 things. Here's our checklist. To recharge the battery on your mobile quality research, keep in mind, growth generations are mobile. You need to include them in your surveys. Number 2, keep the survey to 10 minutes or less before the quality of the data is at risk. How are you going to do that? We got to redesign the surveys. We got to make this mobile surveys thumb friendly. And then finally, number 4, think about the opportunity. Let's migrate from that standard clipboard survey into a handheld consumer dialogue. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.